Welcome back to another talk to share environmental awareness. This time we're going to talk about where do our waste goes, especially the plastic. Does it recycle? What happens with our plastics? And internationally, what is the way to go? And then we're going to talk about the situation in our country, which is that we're living. It's Ecuador. What happens here? What is really the recycle? And so, for this, we have this gentleman over here that know a lot about the subject at hand. I'm talking about Daniel Hicks over here. How are you doing?
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Welcome, Daniel. Daniel, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Harold Fernando Vaca, how are you doing? How are you doing, Harold?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Great to be here, man.
Yes. Thank you for joining us again, guys. So yes, so this subject over here is very important. Not many people talks about it, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere, and we need to know more about this subject. But before we go, let us talk about our sponsors, because it's also important to us. Shiripuna Lodge, first of all, this amazing lodge in the middle of a amazing national park called Yasuni, surrounded by miles and miles of rainforest. You gotta check it out. And our own restoration dream. We wanna restore and protect cloud forests. This is called Sumaco Nyawi. We're doing a crowdfund in order to restore this cloud forest and make it a wilderness sanctuary over there. And finally, we got Cerveza Itinerante, which is this craft beer, the best craft beer in Ecuador. And if you happen to be in Quito, there's delivery service. You gotta try it out because it's the best, no doubt. So, gentlemen, yes. So, the subject at hand. What really happens with our trash? Should I saw Greenpeace was saying this? Should we keep on picking it up, or should we stop producing it? What do you think? Should we keep on picking up our plastic that we throw that ends up in the ocean, or should we stop producing it? What do you think about this subject, gents?
Ooh, it's a tough one, isn't it? Well, it's a little bit of everything. Obviously, yes, we need to think about what we do with the plastic that we have. Obviously, plastic is everywhere. It's on everything that we buy. It's plastic, plastic, and plastic. And obviously, yes, there's this idea of reusing, for example, that yes, we can all reuse plastic items, whether it's plastic bags, plastic bottles, containers. We can, no matter where we are, obviously on different scales, depending on where in the world we are, but we can all recycle. Okay. There's no excuse. But whenever we're using plastic, we're never going to reuse or recycle all of it. While plastic exists, the possibility for escapes, i.e. in the wind, in the rain, down the drain of the rivers into the lakes and the seas, that's always going to happen while plastic exists. Right? So obviously, we need to take all the care that we can to minimize the amount of plastic that gets to the river systems and the oceans. But obviously, ideally, yes, if we stopped producing plastic, then that would solve our problem, let's say, right? So obviously, things we can do every day, every one of us, but yes, the ideal solution would be to stop using plastic as we know it today, right? There are other options available out there for us or for the products that we buy that are wrapped or in plastic.
Right. It's totally true. Thank you, Daniel. Like, it's also not, like you said, not everything is possible to recycle. Yeah. So I was thinking of this Futurama show by the same creators of the Simpsons. It's a matter of space. They were at some point humanity was producing so much plastic and so much trash they didn't know what to do with it because not everything is recyclable. And at some point, when you consume recycled items, what happens then? Right? What happens then when you consume already recycled items? What happens then? So in the Futurama, they were collecting all the trash and sending it to space. Do we have to do the same thing? We're gonna have to do. We're gonna have that solution also. Maybe in the near future we're gonna have to do the same. And this, the funny part of it is that this gigantic trash ball came back to Earth as a meteor, and it was another problem they had to solve, right? So I think it's better not to get to that point. So what do we do? What do we do, guys?
Oh, I would like to take it. Yes, we stop producing or stop picking it. I think we have to kind of live in between because we need to pick a lot of shit that is already out there. So that's something that we will continue, and perhaps future generations still will continue picking up all the trash that we have already delivered, right? On the other hand, we also need to still produce, produce the items, but they need to be in a different source of, instead of the plastic made from oil that takes too long to decompose, maybe to find another source to create plastic. And there is. Nature has many sources of it. Today, oil is the cheapest one. That's why it's very popular. But if we explore to produce plastic from another source that it will decompose in nature, definitely we need to continue producing because the way we live today in many ways is very comfy thanks to the plastics. We are driving a car. If you look in the car, you see how many pieces in the car are made of plastic. If you are sitting in your home and look around, how many things of shit are made of plastic? You go to the supermarket, look, all your food is covered with plastic. So that won't stop. So the idea is to go and keep producing for a better source of plastic, not the ones that we're using today. So I think we should go. We still have to produce, but we will continue picking. So that's why I see it. So it's a long way to run, man. And just to give an idea about these outer space garbage areas, it's already happening. If you think about all these different trips that were sent out, all the different satellites that we put out there to have satellite connections, many of that they get decomposed and they never come back. So we are building already our little garbage zone out there next to the moon. So Futurama is not far from the future already.
The future is now. Sadly, in this case, the future is now. Sadly, this is happening. So even if we when we have this awareness of preferring articles that are not with plastic, our world is surrounded by plastic. We're totally dependent on plastic today. When you go to the supermarket, there's no options. Or maybe very little options where there's no plastic. So maybe our governments should do something about it. Stop subsidizing things that come from petrol, or maybe a selected subsidize of that, because there's already solutions for this problem. I read an article a long time ago, because there's many entrepreneurs with environmental awareness already giving you, for example, a plastic that is not plastic, made of manioc or cassava, dissolves in the water. Just you shake stir the water a little bit, and it dissolves in water, and you can drink it, and you can drink that water. So the solutions are out there. Why we don't? Our government don't support this, So, and our government should. Where are the laws? of course. And if we cannot depend on our governments, what should we do as individuals? What do you think, guys? Maybe Dan?
Obviously, it's great, and in some countries around the world, yes, there are governments that are forward thinking and basically oblige us to recycle, for example. Okay. There are places in the world, countries that, yes, that does happen. Unfortunately, obviously, here where we are in Ecuador, we can't depend on the state to promote these big recycling schemes, for example, programs that allow everybody to put their recyclables out in different colored bags every other day, as in certain European countries, for example. Or that, for example, you take your recyclables to a center and you actually make some money per bottle or bag that you leave, for example. It would be great if the Ecuadorian government were to promote those schemes, really put that out there. But if a government or a state isn't going to do this, then it's on us, right? There are projects appearing all of the time, small scale projects, first of all, recycling projects, making different projects. For example, plastic wood is one that's fairly big now. It's getting there. But overall, they're still small programs, right? These programs will only grow, let's say, it will only succeed if we are there to help them succeed, right? Others will only appear, companies, for example, supermarkets, these bigger companies with obviously great economic funding, that are able or capable of starting up these big schemes. They'll only do that if there's a demand from us. We are the clients of those big companies. So it's if a demand comes from the client saying, okay, we don't want these products to be wrapped or covered in plastic, and two, we want to be able to recycle what we are buying from you. If there's that demand there, then these companies obviously will bend to those demands. So it's on us as individuals to say, hey, we want this to change. We need this to change. But obviously, every individual is not going to make a big scheme or a big project. But if we're all together, then we can cause those projects to come about, right? So we as individuals, if we're reading the newspaper or watching the news on TV or on the internet, we know these problems exist. We know they're there. So we need to make some noise, and as a larger, greater unit, let's say, start to make that change, right? It's on us. We can't always just sit back and wait for the government, for example, to do this or do that. We have to start that change. It's from home. It's from us, right? We need to think about our power as individuals.
Totally right. That's totally right. Totally right. Totally agreed. The change is in individual. What happens if the city or the country recycles, but its citizens doesn't? There's no change. There won't be any change if each one of us would agree to have a better life, cleaner oceans, cleaner rivers, cleaner everything. It depends on us and each one of us. Yes. So the change is definitely on us, guys. So sadly, also I don't know, kind of like lost the flow of the conversation here. I don't know.
Hold on. I think all these garbage, all these that we are producing is actually a great opportunity, because never in history of mankind we never had so much things next to us. So the plastic is actually brand new for the planet. I can remember in my lifetime have seen it from the beginning all the way that we are now. I remember when I was a kid, leaving the forest and going to the local supermarket and make my shopping. So when I came back home, I would spread the shopping to my mama, and I remember almost all the items were dropped off on paper. You know, the fruits, the veggies, the meat, and everything was drop it off on paper. So there were even special paper for meat, for fruit, and so on. And I remember we used to collect out the paper and reuse it again, no? But when the plastic came out and gave a lot of solutions that at that time were huge challenges, like carrying water for long distance, and having that gallon, man, that is a life changing. So being able to wrap up your medicine, wrap up your money when you go in a long distance is a great deal. So plastic eventually start taking place everywhere. So what I see is an opportunity for people to to go and explore different sources of plastics. A plastic, as I said before, it should come from natural resources. Like you mentioned, manual, stuff like that. So there is a lot of different sources that today are available. There is science behind it, but there is not enough money, not enough capital to for these ideas to take off and replace what is already in the market. So what we need to do is pretty much use the same infrastructure and put a new source of plastic to start producing the same. So when we go to the supermarket, we still buy things, but we're going to recycle again and put it back into the nature again, and that's going to help. So, on the other hand, we can also learn from the big experiments that are already happening in developed countries, like Germany, like UK, and so on. They've been collecting garbage for ages now, and telling people to organize their shit. So you go to Japan, you have you follow every single the every single guidelines to select the garbage. But at the end of the day, you end up having huge piles of garbage behind. So back in the day, there was a country that used to buy all the garbage and reuse it again, and that was China. And nowadays, China say, "Uh-oh, hold on, boys, we're not accepting your garbage anymore. Take your shit and go back again." So we can see thousands and thousands of containers that they were shipping to China, and now they're coming back. So we can go to Hong Kong and we can see all the piles of garbage that is there, but is nobody using it. So we have to learn from that because we have to create that. We don't have to go and get to the same level, So now we're gonna do with our garbage. So a countries like Ecuador, where we are now, is a great opportunity because we have such a high diversity of life in here. So we need to go forward. Say, okay, we have to find a different source to create to keep producing plastic, but a plastic that will dissolve very soon. On the other hand, we have to put capital to entrepreneurs that are exploring these ideas of new plastic, and education. But as I agree with Dan, we have the final power. We as a consumer, we the citizens that we go shopping every day, we have to be, we have to question ourselves. Is that okay that we buy this and be usable for 5 minutes? And then 400 years will be traveling from the mountain to the stream to the seas and so on. So we have to question ourselves. So if we go to any of those malls that today in Ecuador is pretty common, so if you go to those places, those local restaurants, you see how much garbage it produces. So is it okay to eat in a place like that? Is it okay? So we have to question ourselves every day in terms of this uh, garbage.
Totally, totally. Thank you for that, Harold. That's totally right. Like the sad truth is that very little is actually recycled. Not just in Ecuador, here in the world, very little is actually recycled. So what to do with that? As individuals, we gotta do our own research. In the case of Ecuador, for example, like we said before, our government doesn't do much about it. There's very little, so we gotta go and look for our foundations. There's a lot of foundations here, organizations that help us doing the recycling. So we gotta go and look for ourselves. What can we do? But there, it's everything is out there. It's on the internet. We gotta do it ourselves, guys. So I hope to all of our viewers and everybody that is watching or listening, it help you to open your mind and encourage you to do what we can. Like, let's recycle, let's separate our trash, because it's a problem that it's surrounding us, and we have to do our own goals, our own little things, a little support. Everything helps, guys. So I don't know if you wanna maybe conclude with something else, or are you ready to say goodbye, guys? What do you think?
No, it is simply that there is no longer an excuse, let's say, right? Every single one of us is aware of the problems now. There's no reason not to be. We've all seen the news. We've all seen the articles. We know the issues that exist, and we also know those small steps, for example, that you're mentioning, that we can all carry out at home. We all know what they are now, right? So it's now a case of, all right, we need to stop ignoring this and just letting it pass over as such, but actually think, okay, right, now I'm going to start taking my small steps at home, reducing, reusing, and recycling, because everybody doing that will certainly, let's say, help the issue, while those new processes of producing plastic, those new materials that, for example, Harold was mentioning, come about or gain greater ground, let's say, right? So there's no longer an excuse. We need to actually take this on board and get going, right, with all the different steps that we can.
Yes, that's an excellent message. Excellent message. Thank you, Dan. But there's no such, oh, the world is going to an end, so I don't care, and I'm just gonna keep on dropping trash. So there's nothing to do already. No, that's not the way to think. We have to be the best person that we can every day. You gotta be the best you can be yourself every day. You gotta behave, give you the best of yourself to the world. Yes, don't be selfish, guys. Let's do our best, right, guys?
Yeah, I just want to say that as in a holistic way that we are living in this rock in here on this planet, and we don't have another one to go after we fill it up with all the garbage that we are producing. There is today is we're trying to go somewhere else, and there is none. So we have to think that this is our own home, and we have to start cleaning it. So get educated, get get the power that you have in your hands to change. Be critical, be a critical consumer every day. Because this planet need it, future generation need it, and that's all we can do, man. So every time you go into the beach, remember that having a cocktail with a straw, it won't make you cooler. It won't make you down ass. So go drink it like a regular person without a straw.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Thank you, Harold. And yes, for any of our viewers, if you have questions, if you don't agree with us, just comment. Maybe you have doubts, just let us know. Daniel over here, Harold over here, they're all open to help and solve some questions over here. So yeah, and share. We want to share environmental awareness, so share this so it can get to a lot of people, and we have a better place, better world. So thank you, Harold. Thank you, Dan.
Hey, great to be
Thank
here,
you very
man.
much. Been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for listening, and till the next time. See you, everybody. Ciao, ciao.
Hit
Bye.
the roll, hit the roll.